so weird. She even treats me.
She has a lot of same
She even treats you like a child. Wait, how is that any different from the rest of us?
From anybody. What is this ours? Is this ours? Right?
Yeah.
Don't unplug it.
Don't unplug
Don't
it.
fiddle
No,
with
it
it.
looked.
You've got the power.
Oh, it's recording.
We're
Oh,
recording.
We're recording.
We're recording.
But I don't like it. I was gonna say something and I forgot. We're recording just for a quick second. Go ahead.
I'm with
You're
you.
stupid. Hey, everybody. It's the Brightside with Mikey and Rachel. I'm Rachel.
I'm Mikey.
I'm Carl.
I'm Nicole.
Oh my God, we have other people on
We
here.
have more people on the podcast today.
That's so
Hi,
weird.
guys.
You get one extra listener.
Yeah,
Yay.
one
actually-
of 7.
One of 7.
Hashtag one of 7.
Hashtag.
Hashtag, yeah.
So today we have two very special guests, Carl Nelson and Nicole Zuckerman.
Yeah, thanks for getting that right.
Zuckerman.
It's kind of
Zucker-
you.
I kept telling him. So at Inspiration Weekend, it just happened a couple weeks ago. Fucking Kyle, our MC. I use MC in quotations. MC, I told him, I was like, it's Zuckerman. It's Zuckerman. He's like, no, it's Zuckerberg. I was like, you're thinking of Facebook. No. And he did it anyways. And I was like,
And then he seemed so surprised when
Yeah.
I was like, it's Zuckerman.
yeah. Because, I mean, he's surprised when he's actually wrong. Which is all the
Also,
time.
I don't know if you were there when Peter accidentally called you Zuckerberg as
Zuckerberg.
well.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely not the first time it's happened. And I don't particularly care how you pronounce my name.
Yeah.
I do care that you not confuse me with that asshole.
Oh, shots fired.
Hello. It's getting real. Someone came up to me
Yeah, you
last
could-
night.
It's all right. You could say you asshole on the show.
We were.
I mean, you already said fuck.
Carl
so.
and I were sitting at the bar, and these dudes came up to us, and I didn't know who they were, and they were like, "Are you Dahlenburg?" And I was like, "Yes." And who are you? And they were like, I forget what the guy's name was.
Sarkar and
yeah.
I forget the guy's name. But
Josh. And he was like, "Yeah, I know that you weren't born with that name, but you just look like a Dahlenburg."
What the fuck was
I don't know what that means.
I know.
I don't know what that means
That is
either.
such a blanket statement. I feel like that was like, I don't know how to take that. I'm going to walk away from you. Bye-bye now.
No.
unfortunately, we were like pinned against the bar while we were sitting. And
Oh.
It's true. And then like this old dude was talking about how like awesome
Oh
it
my
is
God.
to see us young kids, us
Doing
you
business.
you young men doing business, while I, the pretty lady, was like
Oh, yeah.
sitting there, and all the business boys were
Like,
gathering
flitting around.
around.
Are you fucking kidding me? Tell me
No.
you punched this asshole.
I was just like, okay.
It only took us about 2 minutes to get in, and now I hear Nicole's real voice.
Good
Well,
morning.
I mean, you know, Rachel, you both know my triggers.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And you just like push one right out the gate.
I know.
I think like one of my goals in life, a common misconception is that like women or that people smile when they are happy, but women smile when they are happy,
Yeah.
when they are enraged, when they are super sad about a thing. And I think that while like this is like 34 years of training
Yeah.
to like teach women to smile all the fucking time, I think I want to like try to retrain myself so that when someone says like, "Oh, you look so happy," I'll just be like, "No, I'm fucking enraged at you. Get out of my face."
yeah.
And just like, you know, start training men to not assume that women are always thrilled to see them.
Yeah. I mean,
True.
or see anyone.
Or see
Yeah.
anyone.
Or see anyone. Because, like, someone said that to me last night about I was having a chat with somebody, a woman, and she was like, "Oh, so I was just like hanging out there, and I feel so bad because people probably think I'm so mean." And I'm like, no, they don't think you're mean. They think that they're mean when they look like you, and so they just assume they're projecting on you, and they're like assuming that like, oh, she must be mean. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with the person saying it, and it's like they're just projecting shit on you. I mean, that's part of it. That's
Sometimes.
part of it. I'm not going to say that's all of it. Absolutely. That's just my little mentality of how to take it. And I go, you're an idiot. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Also, like, being a woman and being mean on occasion is like that's part of the range of human experience,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
fact
exactly.
that we
Yeah.
like are absolutely forbidden from expressing that
Yeah.
is
Totally.
a thing.
Well, you know what's funny about that is like, it just in general, what you just said, like I feel like I've talked about this before, like in the sense of like Lindy Hop, how we think of it as like a joyous, like happy time, great time. I'm like, well, I feel like that's just a part of me. Like that's just like defining myself as my left hand or something. It's like my lead hand, and like that's all I am, as opposed to denying myself my entire range of emotion. And I'm like, I want to try to see if I can put more emotions other emotions into Lindy Hop. And I know Rachel's heard me talk about this like so many fucking times.
Well, and the other thing is that like when people were doing Lindy Hop back in the 30s, it was very much like an escapism, right? And so I'm sure like those people were bringing all sorts of problems and issues to the dance floor and then dancing them out. It's like why the dance is so joyous, right?
Yeah.
It's like a catharsis. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you have like, I've known like myself, like having like very shitty times in my life, and like going out and dancing is the thing that like sort of either pulls me out of the slump or helps me work through that like emotional set in a way that a lot of other things don't. So
There's also the fact that if you put a pencil between your teeth so that it like keeps your mouth kind of in a smile position, you will actually get happier.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's also partially if I express this thing, I will be there more. But we still do need. I think all other dance forms have like a much greater range of expression than we do, and there's not a reason why we shouldn't.
Yeah,
Totally.
Yeah, and because a lot of the times, especially now how everything is going nowadays, like I keep saying this, like right now is probably the best time to be a Lindy Hopper, because of like so much shit. Like it reminds me so much of the shit that happened in the 1920s and 1930s, that happened again in the 1960s and 1970s, that happened again right now. Like it's so interesting to me because like it's like. We say happy and escapism and all this stuff, and I completely understand. And like I assume it up to being a rebellious feeling, or a rebellion feeling, like a revolution type feeling. Like I'm gonna rebel against like how the status quo is making me feel, and go to a place where like-minded people can enjoy the time and make the time what they want it to be. You know, and like that's why I'm like, oh, that's what I felt. That must have been what it felt like to be like in Harlem, like creating this dance, creating this movement. And on top of that, they also had other emotional outlets. Of course, I mean the Harlem Renaissance was all about that. You know, but even at the Savoy, they didn't just play swing music. They played waltzes, they played foxtrots, they played cha-chas. Like they played a lot of different things, so they got to experience that range of emotion as well.
I love how we just dove headfirst into a topic that we didn't even talk about discussing, and it was just like got deep real quick.
Yeah.
But let's like back up a little bit, and I want you guys to just like
and drop it like it's hot.
Drop it like it's hot. Just kind of like just tell us like a little bit about yourselves, where you live, how you like what you do in your scene.
Go ahead, Nicole.
Sure. I'm Nicole. I live in San Francisco with Carl.
Sorry.
He's like the best roommate that a person could have, on top of being an amazing like romantic partner.
Oh, that was so cool. You turned my shitty thing into an awesome thing. That was great.
I got his back. We're part of the
awesome.
same pack,
Heck
you know.
yeah, man, that was awesome.
He's
that
the
was cool.
alpha, but
Oh.
we just got a new puppy, and she very clearly knows who is in charge.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of ways in our relationship that like I call the shots, but this puppy definitely kenned on to like, this human knows what's up.
Yeah. It's like, oh, which person is gonna take care of me? Who's gonna feed me? Who's gonna walk me most of the time? Who's gonna do all the stupid little things?
Yep.
Probably Carl, because that's what Carl does around the house. That's what I'm responsible for.
He's a
That's
great
awesome.
caretaker.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And who are you?
I'm
Who are
going
you?
to dive in real quick. I'm Carl. I live in San Francisco with Nicole and an exceptionally adorable puppy named Chloe. And yeah, outside of this sort of dance life, I work in like educational technology as a designer.
Yeah.
And in the scene, I attempt to do fewer things than I actually commit to.
Classic.
You know.
Yeah.
We both teach at the 920 Special, San Francisco's like biggest dance scene. I'm the
Yeah.
education coordinator there, which is really fun. Turns out
Yeah.
stressful at
Can
times,
be,
but
can
just
be.
like
Yeah.
we get to revamp the curriculum and like schedule teachers. Turns out I'm really bad at that, and I never schedule myself.
Yeah.
One of my
She's
goals
like,
for the
oh,
year.
I'm not teaching for the next 3 months. I should
Oops.
probably put
Who's
myself
that
in.
jerk who scheduled this stuff?
I'm gonna write an email. Shit, that's me.
Wait.
Yeah.
How long you been doing that for so far as
Uh,
a coordinator?
just a year. I took over from Anne Money, who like set me up for success really nicely.
Right on. And before that, we were part of 920 already, or
Yeah, we've been teaching there for a few years. You've been teaching there like 4 years before then. Yeah.
I've been teaching there basically almost since I got there, so like 5.5 years.
wow,
Well,
Wow.
someone's fancy.
that was crazy.
It's a long
And so
time.
you just teach at 920, Carl, or you?
We
other
teach
things?
a couple other venues in town, more on a sort of one-off basis.
Mhm.
We've taught at
Shimmy
Couch
Town.
Corner, Shimmy Town, Shimmytown is Anne Money's new venue.
Yeah.
On Monday nights, which is really cool. It's like a live band every night.
How does that work? Because like I feel like that's a newer thing for San Francisco. I mean, like I know Cat's Corner's been there for a long time. I know 920's been there for a long time, and I know like other people like a little bit down south, like Wednesday Night Hop, and then now Shimmytown. Like, does everybody pretty much get along for the most part? Like all the organizers and all the students and everything, do they pretty much go along?
Yeah, if they don't, they do a really good job of making it seem like everything's cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
As
From your
far as I can
perspective,
tell.
actually, yeah, from your perspective.
Yeah,
Good, 'cause-
and they all organize like Fog City Stomp together.
Yeah, there's
Oh.
like 12
So-
people.
Yeah,
on
I
our
was-
Yeah.
team, and
yeah.
they all run all the other events.
You know what's so funny is like I've known that for like a long time. Like I've known that it's been a big group, and I'm like I don't know who they are though. Like I know them, but I don't know which one it is.
It's
like
a
playing-
secret syndicate.
Yeah, it's like watching. It's like which one is the Illuminati here? Like, but it's just interesting to me because I feel like for me watching the San Francisco scene like go really really high like in the early 2000s and then kind of like peter out a little bit, and I know Tony was there for like a long time, and then like rise up again now in the last couple of years, like last 4 or 5 years. So ever since you moved there, pretty much.
It's
So
all Carl's
It's
fault.
totally my
all
fault.
because
Yeah.
of Carl.
But I think the scene is like changed a good bit. There's been like an influx of people. Nicole, myself, like even like Anne Money moved there a
Yeah.
little bit before I did. Ryan Calloway started getting much more involved.
Right.
And recently we've had a sort of like another wave.
An
of
influx of like the new
Yeah.
enthusiastic dancers.
Yeah,
It's
especially
really
from like
cool.
the Midwest. We
Yeah,
had a
it's
big
really
chunk
cool
of the
exciting.
Midwest, too.
I'll have students or dancers from Orange County go up there and then come back and tell me like, have you been to San Francisco? Like their dancing is so amazing. Like it's so many great dancers. I'm like, I mean, LA is cool too, but yeah, I know that. Yeah.
That's the problem with having a home scene. The people you grow up with, you take
Yeah.
for granted, and then
Absolutely.
you travel anywhere else, and you're like, oh, they have all these things we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then also you're like home teachers. You're like, you know, that Mikey guy, he's all right, but like anyone from any other scene is like, Mikey Pedroza's coming. I can't
Fucking
believe
hide your
it."
booze.
Yeah.
Like
Oh my god.
but yeah, San Francisco is really amazing, and it's such a weird thing because like it went through, like I said before, like in the late
Oh,
90s
it had a
and 20s.
reputation.
Yeah, it did. I mean, so did LA. To be fair.
Yeah.
Like
On
in
the
the
other
same
end,
time.
yeah.
On the exact other hand, to the point where I don't know if you guys remember this. I don't know. You guys were definitely dancing at the time where they had a battle. There was 2 years in a
yep.
row where they had a battle where LA dancers went up there to battle some people. Like Kevin talked about it all the time. He's like, it was a blur. I don't remember exactly what happened. I was like, I'm pretty sure you took off his shirt. And he's
Wait,
like,
it was-
but that happens all the time.
what kind of what kind of battle was it?
It was a dance battle.
Yeah, it was a dance battle.
Like two teams.
Like Battles of the Styles? Or
Yeah.
Like West Side
Sort of.
Story?
I mean, basically.
I mean,
but
with
it was
more
at
knives.
the time. At the time, like more. I hate when you do that. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! She's trying to be a shark. Everybody, I don't like it. I'm a jet.
A shark?
I'm a jet. When you're a jet, you're a jet.
What?
Oh no! Wait, which was the brown one?
What do you?
Which one was the brown one on West Side Story?
You know what? I never saw it.
but it's
I mean,
iconic enough
what
that
can
she
I
knows how
say?
to
I
snap.
just
Yeah.
know. I
Yeah.
just know.
So at the time, like the early 2000s, like everyone was like really into like trying to like do like hip hop battles, like b-boy battles, and so like have a cipher and like people
Okay.
come in and out and just have this thing. And so San Francisco and LA had always had this kind of like
Rivalry.
rivalry.
NorCal, South
Yeah,
Cal.
yeah, it's just a rivalry like sport teams,
Okay.
sports ball, and
You know, like the sports.
the sports ball. Well, but the thing was like they decided to have like, okay, we're gonna have these rules and we're gonna be cipher, and like we get this song from our side and you guys get a song and we get a fast song, you get a fast song, and then we get a slow song, and then like one
Kind of
big,
like the Montreal
battle.
Swing Riot.
A little
Like,
bit,
sorta like
but
that?
I have
with
no
just
comment
Lindy
on that.
Hoppers on both sides.
Okay.
I have no comment on that.
Tight.
Never seen them because I don't like them. Okay, so the thing is, yeah, hey, it's my show. It's six people. So the thing about it was like it was really crazy because I remember my cousin went and won. My cousin Josh
Really?
went and won, yeah, and he's such he was such a fucking dickhead back then. I'm pretty sure he like slammed somebody into another person. Like, yeah, it was like okay, let's not go that far. Like, but it lasted for 2 years, but it was like a rivalry for a little bit. Because like LA was known to be like smooth style, like LA style, like Hollywood, whatever, and then like it was like San Francisco with groove and like let's be musical, like let's be feelings in our dance and
Let's be
whatnot.
Let's
feelings.
be feelings.
I mean, that's
Some things haven't changed.
Yeah, I know.
actually, well, I mean, like, yeah, it's just now our expression of feelings is less sort of wibbly wobbly.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And a lot more sort of jazz.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like even that like it's. I always say all the time, like, if it wasn't for this kind of, like, weird rivalry between, like, people that describe themselves as in the LA style or Hollywood style or Savoy or, like, Frankie or followers, like, whatever, like, if we didn't have that, I don't think we would have the modern scene we have today because we have a mixture of all that stuff nowadays.
Mhm.
Like
All
there's a
in,
mixture
like,
of
the
the smooth
same
style. There's a
dance,
mixture of like
yeah.
the Frankie and Savoy and like groove, like all the New Testament bassy. I
Mhm.
remember when I was a kid, like we wouldn't play that because like that's like groove style. And now like 15, 20 years later, I'm like everybody's dancing like, no, that's just fucking Lindy Hop. Like
Yeah. Well, you can't make cake with just flour. You have to have like all the different ingredients mixed together in order to like make this delicious whole.
Sprinkles and-
what else? Are you
Sprinkles.
guys want cake now? Like you guys just
I mean, always.
I guess
I
I saw both your
mean-
eyes kind of glaze over like
They're both like,
I know.
"Cake?"
There's
Yo.
cheesecake at the Jewish deli that's like on the other side
Oh,
of this block.
hell
Wait,
Really good.
what?
Yeah.
No.
Oh my
I
God.
don't know if
Have
you
you
know
not
this, but
been to the Jewish deli?
Rachel's
A
Part of the
Dahlenburg.
tribe?
part of the tribe.
The
Trebe.
tree. The
It
tree
is-
bay?
It is very good Jewish like deli that is usually packed with people.
Yeah.
And the
Oh, but-
cheesecake like the size of your head.
Oh
but
my
there's
God.
Cheesecake Factory right over there. Why would I
That
go
is
over there?
not
You
the
can
same.
die.
Don't even.
Oh,
Yeah, you
all your
can-
eyes, all of your eyes just
Yeah,
looked at.
what
Oh
is-
God!
all got
you
flat.
guys have the eyes for a podcast because right now, like you guys are just giving to me right now. I'm like, I wish all of you can just see this right now.
You don't understand.
Lasers came out of their eyes and burned my face off.
It's really funny to be here for like the making of this thing because normally I'm on the other side consuming it. And so I told Rachel this before, but there was a time where we were listening to one of the episodes, but we tend to do that like kind of late at night.
We put you guys to
Usually-
bed.
Aw.
And well, I mean, we were in bed, but we were like listening to the podcast. And the human brain can process information a lot faster than we can speak most of the time, unless
Yeah.
you're talking
So
about
we
like
put it on,
deep
like,
physics. So you put it on like 2x.
1.5 or 2x.
And listening to you two laugh at double speed is amazing.
It's
You
fantastic.
really have to try it.
We really wanted
It's
to do
amazing.
I've never done it.
I've
before.
never
I've never
done
thought
it.
about that. Oh,
I've
that
never
sounds
done it.
horrible.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So,
There's
now,
also-
wait, so this is just for when you guys listen to this back.
It'll be 4x now. It'll be really terrible.
Okay, that was
That
just
might be
monkey
horrifying.
noises.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the best part of this is that like Nicole's like, hey, listen to this thing, and I'm like, and I'm usually the one that like sort of like falls asleep first, even though like Nicole's the one who's like, I'm tired, let's go to bed. And yeah, it's just how it works. She's like, well, listen to this thing, and I'm just like, no, they're talking about us.
Oh, no, they're talking about us. Oh no, they're talking about us. Oh, horrible shit.
He perks up for 2
Our,
seconds.
our soothing voices just lull
Lull
you
me
to
to
sleep
sleep.
every
Yeah.
night.
Actually,
We're
that's-
just tucking you into Betty Bye.
Oh, that's so funny. I mean, we get people coming up to us like all the time. Like at Inspiration Weekend, this very very adorable woman came up to us and was like, can I get my number? Okay, like yeah, no. By the way, are you the same Mikey that has the Brightside with Rachel? I was like, yeah, it's Rachel over there. She's like, oh my gosh, like I just started listening to your show like a couple weeks ago, and I went back and like, oh my gosh, you got a ton. So I listened to them all, and I go, oh, I'm so sorry.
I feel so sorry
It's
for
like-
you. There might be one good one in there.
It's like really, you should just be like, you know what? We've done some work. Just skip all the things in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah.
Start here. Start
It's still,
now.
The cool-
it's still a work in progress.
Yeah,
it's
the-
just like
the cool
anything
thing-
else.
the cool
Like we're
thing is-
practicing every single time we do this.
Yeah, the cool thing is like those first couple episodes were like I've gone back and listened to the first episode.
They're pretty rough.
It's real rough.
It's real rough.
But I mean it's still real rough right now. But like, but the thing is when I go back and listen to them, like I was like trying to be like too much on the comedy end, and I was like, oh fuck, the Rachel's doing that. Like let her be the comedy part of it.
I
And then-
mean, what can I
You mean
say,
she's not just a pretty
everybody?
face?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean
I mean, she was.
Despite how awesomely gorgeous I am,
all the time.
it's the only thing I'm good for.
Being circled by men at all points.
Women, am I right?
Okay, maybe let's move on
I
to this
know
topic
you're even
before
kidding.
Nicole like
I
explodes.
know you're kidding. And the
Let's just
fire.
like, yeah,
Oh
the
my
fire in the
gosh.
belly.
All right.
Anyways, so let's move into the actual topic of our
The
show.
actual topic. The
Start
real
the show.
topic.
Which is why women? No, just kidding.
Puppies.
Why women? No, which is Rachel. You read it. I
End
can't-
of
Yeah.
the question.
Yeah. So the
Rachel,
topic,
read it. I can't
The
read.
topic today is self-assessment. Like, have the difference between like having true self-assessment and having self-confidence, because I think like, so this weekend one of the things that you guys are doing is running the track testing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people have a really hard time with that because they pay a lot of money to come here. They want to be in a certain level and then they don't make that level. And like, how do you, well, tell us your role in the track testing and then like, tell us kind of just like what you think about how all of that goes down?
Sure. So different events run track testing in different ways. Sometimes it's just standing there looking at everyone and saying, you look like a banana, you look like an apple, or whatever people are calling their tracks, like
Food.
colors or
I
numbers
think
or
Nicole did not get
whatever.
enough to eat.
I hope no instructor is looking at me and being like, you look like a banana, so you don't make the finals
You look
of
like a
this
pancake.
contest. You look like a
pancake.
pancake.
Actually, Rachel Dahlenburg.
It's a latke.
In terms of like sort of like Montessori or like Waldorf education, where
Yeah.
like you get 2 stegosauruses in math or
Yeah.
whatever, and we're trying to impress upon people the fact that what level you're in does not have anything to do with your self-worth or your value as a dancer. It is putting you together with a bunch of people who have approximately your same skill set,
Yeah.
so that the teachers have an easier time giving you all the best class that they can give you.
Yeah.
So most of the time we're standing up there saying like, oh, we think that you are in the same group as these people, and we think that you are in this group with these other people.
Yeah, we're looking for like bodies of peers.
Right.
And, you know, you're always going to have people who are at the sort of top of that cluster and people who are at the bottom of that cluster. And sometimes that's like sort of hard to like, you know, deal with when you're in that situation. Like if you feel like you're always at the top of your cluster, like you might be frustrated. But I think the way, yeah, like a lot of ones are sort of going towards more of these like, you know, regardless of where you are in your dance journey, you are still a whole dancer. Like
Right.
there's not like, you don't keep becoming more of a dancer. You just have more skills and more sort of like versatility and more ability to like show your voice.
Mhm.
And so we're focusing on like finding the people who are in the same sort of bundle and getting away from like track 1, track 2, like the numerical or like
Yeah.
but
Where like a number is better than another number. And I totally get that people get nervous when there's people watching them and that they want something out of these auditions and everything. Carl and I have been, there was like a time where we like kind of stopped taking classes for a while and we're like feeling like, oh, you know, I don't need to take classes. And
What do you mean? Like, fucking, we all take classes all the time, right?
and then like,
Good joke, Mikey.
and then semi-recently,
that's the laugh we're gonna listen to tonight.
The laugh that lulls you to
Sorry,
sleep.
continue. I forget we have guests.
a few
We
years
had
ago,
this
we went back
company.
into classes with the attitude that like it doesn't matter what level the class is. There is stuff that I can get out of it, no matter
Yeah.
who I am, and no matter like what the class level is. I would love for more people to feel like I'm here for learning. There's always learning I can do.
Yeah, I think so. To speak about a sensitive person in the scene, one of the things that, or like a person of sensitive topic is like Stephen Mitchell. Like one of the things that I think he impressed upon me, before
Raping people
being
is bad.
a giant rapist,
Yes.
was that he actually said like, hey, if you're at the top of the class, you should be working the hardest. Like
Yeah.
if you feel
Yeah.
like you are like, you know, at the top of the class, you should be the person paying the most attention, like putting the most into the class. And I think that like really sort of changed my perspective on classes. And I think that's a perspective going into classes people should have.
Yeah.
Because like when you go into a class and you're like, oh, I'm at the top, so I'm gonna sort of half-ass it. Like that's what I did in like high school and college, like in like normal school classes.
Yeah.
But
Ask him later about getting kicked out of his acapella group.
Yeah.
Oh, first of all, I love that you were in an a cappella group.
Oh
And
my
secondly, I
God.
actually cannot wait to hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's gonna be on the show notes.
But
Going on the show
notes.
notes.
but then like as I took more and more dance classes, I think I learned how to become a much better student. And
Yeah.
that sort of like that skill set was something that I never really had because I was like, you know, like school is sort of like this thing that I'm supposed to do, and I wasn't really attached to the outcome. Whereas like once you're like attached to an outcome, being like, I want to get better as a dancer, and what does that mean, and how do I actually like be a good student as a dancer?
Totally.
That's kind of, I mean, for me, like that's kind of like be living in the moment. Like, okay, I'm in this. I'm gonna like fucking make the best of it. I mean, to put it simply, as opposed to like always trying to reach for this goal, like of like I just want to get to that next level, and like when people say that to me, I know what they really mean, but I feel like it's a little bit dangerous because like how we call it levels or tracks. Like I want to get to the next level. Do they really mean next track? Do they just want that status to be like, oh yeah, I'm on the gold bracelet one, or like on the Pac-Man bracelet one.
This is one of the
Yeah.
risks of like gamification that like we're always seeking to get ahead. And the thing about Lindy Hop and like most other things out there where you might advance is that there is no winning the game. And so
Yeah.
like getting there
Mike
faster
has totally
doesn't
won the game, obviously.
getting there faster doesn't get you anything.
Right. Yeah, I like that better because like the thing for me is like, I agree with what you said, but like the game could be for me like the game is just like I want to win that contest or I want to do really good in this class and I want to do like I want to get that move. I want to make up this move. I want to do that aerial really good. Like that's the game is very small. Like
Yeah.
I don't make it my whole life of dancing is not the
Right.
game, right? That's the hustle. but yeah, exactly. So,
Which is not even a
I
hustle.
know. I was doing it because I know she's going to say
I know. I love it. I love seeing this go back and forth. It's go great. You guys can.
Oh, you guys, they just kissed.
And everything was better again.
It was so cute.
And it goes
My-
right back
my-
to horrible.
Mikey and I will not be kissing in reciprocation to Carl and Nicole kissing.
No, we mostly
We'll
just
just scoot
like-
our chairs further away from each
we
other.
might just like push each other every once in a while.
You already
We do-
started
we do-
that, Mikey.
We do pod each other's faces a lot.
She did this
Rachel's
the other
cats have trained her very well.
day. Didn't you go into my eye and go shh?
No, I did that. I went shh, and I just like pressed my finger up against his eye.
And I was like weirdly confused and relaxed at the same time. I was like, I feel like an animal. Like,
Oh, I'm
It's
going to
okay
sleep
now.
now.
yeah, it's okay now. I feel great.
Has she like grabbed you by the scruff of the neck with her teeth and carried you around?
I'm waiting for
I'm
the
not
day
his
somebody does that.
mother, okay?
You know what? I just figured this out. Oh my God, my brother used to do that to me all the time.
Carry you by the scruff of your
Yeah,
neck?
I'm not even joking. He
How
does it all
do
the
you
time.
have enough extra skin on the back of your neck to be
Yeah.
carried
You see how
by?
much head, how much head I have? I have plenty of skin to cover this head. Like, yeah, it's all back. Yeah, it's all back
It's
here.
the nape.
Mikey's gonna spend
It's
his night
the
like
name.
reevaluating his entire
I was
upbringing.
like, oh my God, no wonder it worked
His
every
life
time.
is flashing in front of his eyes as we speak.
Oh man,
He's turning red.
so weird.
The bright side.
The
Mikey's
bright side.
childhood.
The sad side.
Let me just tell you, it was really great being a family of hardworking immigrants. Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh.
It was.
Okay.
No, I'm just like,
Oh.
sorry. 'cause
Sorry,
existing
everything is
world.
like a trigger for
Oh, really?
like
Yeah,
thinking
reality.
about the current politics.
Oh well, I mean, here's one thing. Literally, I was not just joking just then. It's been amazing being a family of hardworking immigrants.
yeah.
And that we all moved all from one country to another, and yet still stayed in the same relative area,
Mhm.
in one of the most fucking expensive areas of the world.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about the fact that like there's less chance of that happening in the future, which is very sad.
Oh, Mikey's face has like gotten really special.
So a dog just walked into the room.
And that is not the beginning of
It's
a
not.
joke.
Not at the beginning of a
Not
joke.
the beginning.
We have a little beastie.
It's
who's
not
cute
ours,
as- Yeah, not ours.
but she's very cute.
Oh my goodness.
Her name's Billy.
Her name is
Oh
Billy.
my goodness.
This is really good for the podcast,
I
by
know.
the way.
You guys don't worry about it. Just hang with us, or just press that 10-second
Oh
ahead
my
button.
gosh. Oh my
take it, take it.
gosh.
I mean, if
Take
they're
a-
watching it 2x like we do, it actually doesn't take that long to go through.
now,
Like,
now the dog is getting treats. It's like, come on.
Oh my gosh, she's adorable.
she's very
Say hi, Joanna. Carol, can you?
Hi, folks.
What's the name of your puppy?
Her name is Billy.
And what does she do for a living?
She's just cute for a living.
God damn right.
Yeah, she is.
Oh.
Joanna, have you ever seen Clueless?
Yeah.
Carl.
Of course.
Do you like Billie Holiday? I love her.
him.
I love him. I love him.
Oh, I love him.
love
That's
him.
right.
Love him. Yes. That is her namesake.
I love that part so much.
Isn't that Cher? Cher says that, right?
Yeah, Cher says it.
Yeah.
At least she
When
says
she's trying to hook up with
the gay boy.
guy.
I was just
Yeah.
going to say goodbye. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
Oh
you.
no, it's fine.
No,
It's fine.
no.
We can pause
We
it right
can-
here, and you
yeah.
can say goodbye for sure. Go ahead. It's okay. Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. What a bunch of dickheads! Like just.
I know,
just fucking
seriously,
walking in
right?
with a
like they
dog,
just come in
just
here,
saying
like all
goodbye.
entitled,
I'm like, that's
and
fine.
just say
I
goodbye,
guess, but,
like,
like,
oh,
whatever.
like hugging and like
Poop.
being nice
Oh
to
my
friends
God,
and
now
stuff.
they're
Like
just like
seriously,
giving each other treats.
I
Like,
know
it's
they're
so
just like
it's
reaching
like
into the
going
dog
the
treat
night.
bag and taking
Oh,
treats for
God.
themselves, and it's
They
like,
didn't give us
okay,
anything.
They didn't give
I
us
think it's because
anything.
we're sitting behind the
Like,
counter.
how selfish can people be sometimes? Am I
McDonald's
right?
selfish.
It's like
where's,
so selfish.
where's my
my
chicken?
God.
Where's my chicken nuggets?
Okay, seriously?
For like real.
It's for like.
You said seriously.
Okay. My phone.
I
Okay,
turned
my
on
phone
your
has been
Siri.
doing this so much, where I say seriously, and it thinks I'm saying Siri, and it'll be like, "Can I help you with something?" And I'll be like, "No, I didn't say anything to you."
No one was talking to you,
And it
lady.
just turns off, and it
And
goes,
it'll be-
fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
And she's like, "Fine,
fine.
be that way."
It's fine. No, it's fine. No, it's fine. No, it's fine.
God, Rachel's so rude, taking time out of the show.
Oh my god. Okay, I am actually the worst.
Take
Bye,
care.
you guys.
Drive safely.
Bye, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for coming by with a puppy.
And,
And
scene.
Scene.
Good. Or
Excellent.
back in the scene?
Back into
Back
the
in the
scene.
scene.
I know,
how
you
does
tell
that-
me.
I don't
Break?
know how- Break.
What are the words they use?
Yes, and
They just open the metaphorical.
What are the words they use? And you just like breathe into the microphone. What's the words they use?
The
so
metaphorical.
we stayed with
curtain.
Rachel recently
Oh, yeah, that's
for
right.
Inspiration Weekend.
Yeah.
And normally I'm the person who gets up and makes coffee in the morning, and Rachel is an exceptionally talented barista and a coffee
Exceptionally
aficionado.
talented.
And so like we would go to shower, and then I would come out, and there would be these like gorgeous cups of coffee, and then the stillness would be ruined by Rachel.
Why? What happened?
She would just be like, "You're awake!" So excited.
In her Muppet fashion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh,
But
I
I was
okay,
like,
oh,
so-
my
I was like,
favorite
still
Muppet.
haven't
When-
had my coffee yet.
So
Thank
when
you
we
for
used to
making
have other people stay with us, like our like very close friends, like Becca Lucero, for example, we would put on. Did you guys ever see like the newer Muppet movies?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know that like the theme song that was like really popular for a while.
The one with the
No, not that one. The
one with the where the guy that looks like
Yes, with Jason Segel.
Yeah,
that
Jason
one.
Segel,
I
yeah.
can't remember the name of the song. Brett's gonna like scratch his eyeballs out over this. But we would wake up early, and then we would put the song on to wake her up, and we would just like blast it through the house. I swear to God. I didn't want to do this to Carl and Nicole because I thought that they like I wasn't sure how they were gonna wake up, and
You
so I
thought they were
didn't.
gonna murder
I
you.
didn't want I didn't want them to be grouchy, but Becca literally did
Too
this. She
late.
was sleeping, and then she woke up and she went, and she like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and just
Oh,
like
God.
jumped right out of bed. And we came into the room dancing and singing to the song, and she just like woke up and like bounced out of bed and started dancing with us. and
I
it
can
was-
see why you'd be friends with her.
it was the best ever.
Which
That would
one
be
is it?
fine for
Do you know-
me.
do you remember the
I
name?
I can't remember the name of the song.
It's not together again.
It's not together again.
That was the one I just sang. and
Um,
everyone was like,
Is this the first the first one that came out a few years ago, right?
yeah,
Is it
yeah.
just the theme?
No, it's like something about like
Man or
being
Muppet?
being happy or no, not Man or Muppet.
Life's a happy song.
Life's a happy song. Yes.
And the internet saves us again.
Oh yes. No, put it right up to the microphone. Oh yes.
Everything is great.
Everything is grand. Whole wide world in the palm of my hand.
Okay, we got to cut it right there because
Everything is
we don't have the rights
perfect.
for that.
That's it. That's it. That's all you get to hear.
That's 30. Actually, it's like 12
Everybody can
seconds.
listen to it on their
It's fine.
own.
It's fine. iTunes are gonna be like flagged. Fuck off.
Delete. You are
Jim Henson
done.
has come back and said you are wrong.
You are
You
done
cannot play
here.
that.
Jason Segel is going to visit you at night now.
Oh my
Oh, I'd
god.
like that.
Oh, okay.
I like that.
Just as a quick aside, have you guys seen? There's like this guy who eats a picture of Jason Segel
Oh, yeah, every
every
day.
single
Until he
day
meets him, yeah.
until he meets him.
Yeah.
That's
Can you
terrifying.
imagine what his poop is like?
No.
It's
I just
Segel-y.
I don't even know what that means.
It's Jason Segel, right?
Yeah, but what does Segel-y mean?
Yeah, I'm sure there's little bits of his nose or his teeth or his hair coming out of it. It's like
Do you
non-digested.
do you think there's like large pieces of paper?
Yeah.
Does it all get
I
digested?
mean, it does get digested.
It does get like it's just basically.
I
like
used to eat
pulp fiber.
tissues when I was young. I don't know why. I like didn't have any appetite.
I used to suck
period,
on
but
rocks.
I choked on a rock in a car. And
Mikey's
thankfully, we were,
reevaluating
like,
all his
driving
life
by a
choices.
hospital at the time,
No,
and
I
I'm
have-
like in the backseat, basically like dying, and my mom's like, "Well, guess we're right next to the hospital."
Wait, why did you have a rock in your mouth? First of all,
I don't entirely remember, but like
You want to know what it tastes like?
Probably something like that. Like, yeah.
I used to like the taste of rocks. Like my,
What do we used to?
I don't do it anymore.
I don't know, yeah, the coffee's pretty
but
close.
like I remember, so we moved into this the house that my parents live in now, and I was like 2, and my dad. It like took a while for my dad to like landscape, and he got these like, I don't know, like these
Stones.
round, yeah, like
Decorative.
decorative stones that are
Like
like
you do in the 80s.
they're like soft and round, yeah, like you do in the 80s. It was
Yeah.
1988,
Yeah, pet rock.
right
Pet
before.
rocks were a thing. Yeah.
And the other thing is, for Mother's Day, I used to make animals out of rocks, and I would like take the rocks and I would glue them together to make like a dog or a
pretty
bunny,
cool.
and then I would take like cotton balls to make like a tail or ears, and then I'd like draw a little face on them. They were so cute.
Oh, Rachel, honey, this is such a nice fish. It's a dog.
It's a dog. And she'd be like, "Oh, that's so cute. Let's just put it in the trash can for now."
We'll come back to it later.
Mom strikes again.
I also used to make rock art.
Wait, did you make tissue art?
No,
she just ate the tissues.
Oh, okay.
But I made rock art. I was like a budding businesswoman when I was like 8.
Yes.
I would like
Saw
take
your
rock.
rock
So
to play.
my grandfather was like an abstract artist, which I still don't even understand how abstract art
That's
works.
how
But sure.
abstract it is.
He would give me like this very.
differ.
He would give this 8-year-old Nicole, which by the way, bad idea. This very fancy set of markers, like trying to encourage.
Permanent, like
perma-
will stain you
Right,
for
right,
life.
right.
And boy, did they. He would give me this very nice set of markers for like my birthday or something like that. And I would draw on rocks because where I grew up, there was like a lot of quartz and it was like easy to draw on. And so I'd like paint them in a color with these very fancy and expensive markers and then sell them in my neighborhood. And like people were kind enough to buy them like as I'm going around door to door being like, "Hi, I'm selling painted rocks."
If I did that, they would have
my
been
name
like,
is Nicole, and I live on down the street, down there. Would you like to buy my rock collection? Okay.
I have a
bye.
purple rock and a blue rock and a green rock.
You know what we're talking about,
Or
right?
you-
Have you seen those guys that come up to they're like reading the script as they're trying to sell you something?
I mean,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
no one comes to my
Oh,
area
yeah,
to
that's
sell
right.
things.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's gated.
I live in the
It's
suburbs.
not, it was not gated.
I live in the suburbs. Mine wasn't gated.
I live in like rural nowhere. They would have been like, I live on a farm. Get the fuck away from me with your rocks.
Also, it's like 10-minute drive between me and between you and your next neighbor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can I sell you something, or can I stay here for the night? I have nowhere to go.
It is very far to get home.
Let's veer
Back
back,
to the topic.
No, what are you
Yeah,
talking about? What are you
I
talking
know.
about?
As much fun as this is, we're
Our
gonna have
topic
less
was
fun
like,
talking about
like
the topic.
basically like self-assessment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And we completely
sort of
bypassed that in
confidence.
favor of like.
Well, here's the thing. I think we were gonna go from the track thing and basically or the track placement level check, whatever you want to call it, into like basically like there's a lot of people that get like bruised, whether emotionally or physically in that process. What would you tell somebody now with your experience, kind of doing it a couple times and a lot of times to be fair? What would you tell people to like what should they think about when they're moving into that kind of
Like before they're sad or
yeah,
after they're sad?
before and after.
Before they've auditioned.
Yeah, before and after. Like, how do they go into? How's a good like way to approach it? And then afterwards, if they don't, or if they do, like, what's
I mean,
what's the best way?
this
to
year,
go?
Nicole emceed the track auditions at Lindy Focus,
Mhm.
so I think it should be great to sort of like speak to how they started people into that. So
Oh, stop.
I'm a star.
So I get really nervous when people are watching me do anything, especially people whose opinion I value in that thing. Rachel's looking at me with her big eyes right now. And
Yeah,
now
so
now so
big.
is everyone, of course. Things I should not say where other people can hear. And I'm one of those people who looks for the outcome of a thing rather than like experiencing the thing in the moment super easily. And Carl is actually really good at the opposite. So I've tried to like take more of his be in the dance, enjoy it as much as you can, pretend like no one's watching, dance as if you normally would if you were at home, which doesn't mean that it's which will actually set you up better to like take more risks probably. And like I think everyone is more creative when they're in their home element than
Yeah.
when they are feeling under pressure.
That's a really good thing. Like, I honestly did not think of it that way. And that, I mean, as soon as you started getting into that, I was like, oh yeah, you should. Yeah, that's a really good advice thing. It's like, hey guys, like dance like you normally would. And if
Yeah.
you don't know what that is, then don't care. Stop caring. And like, because we're going to make our decision up here no matter what.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that, like, perhaps, like, the benefit of being, like, an angsty teenage boy was, like, developing very strong sense of apathy.
Yeah. Those are
Valuable to any human's life.
Valuable to any human's life. But in this case, like, at one point in my dance career, I definitely cared too much about it. Like, I was very attached to, like, outcomes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then as I sort of, like, grew as a dancer and grew as a human, bringing some of that back in and being like, you know what, like, I'm here to, like, do a thing and, like, live through this thing and dance through this thing. And, yeah, it would be, like, I want to succeed. But if I attach my, like, self to the success, like, it's going to be really shitty every time. And then when I get it, it's going to feel great. But then I'm just, like, looking for the next one.
That high
Yeah.
doesn't last very long.
Yeah, it gets addicting for sure.
Yeah, and so, you know, now, like, I go out to a contest or, like, something like that, and I'm like, you know what? I want to have a good dance with my partner. And if we felt we danced well together, like, sometimes I'll go out and dance, and, like, we'll be like, I'm sorry, what I just did to you on that floor was terrible.
And that voice
hold on.
probably
Yeah,
doesn't help
yeah,
either.
I was like, you turned into Batman for a
That's
second
like,
there.
That's probably
like,
your
"I'm
first
sorry.
problem. I'm sorry.
Turns into Bat Dad.
Carl. Carl.
Get in the car.
We're leaving right now. Sorry, but I totally get what you're saying.
But I mean, yeah, and it's usually because, like, I'm in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about, like, the thing that I want to do or the thing that I think, like, the judges are looking for versus being like, hey, here's my partner. Like, we are in this together. If we have a good time, people can see that.
Yeah.
And if people can see that, like, they're having a good time, they're putting themselves into this, and they're inviting us into that, it's more likely that you're going to do well.
And then on the other side of it, I still get really nervous every time I compete.
Right.
And I was annoyed for a while because I would make finals in everything and, like, never place in a thing. And then I started thinking, instead of dwelling on the lack of success in terms of, like, having public recognition for a thing that I've done, the thing that I've tried to hold on to is the feeling that I had while I was doing the dancing, which sometimes is hard because sometimes I kind of black out when I'm, like,
Yeah, sure.
under everyone's eyes.
Or white out with all the lights out there.
Yeah.
Like, literally just 7 minutes of my life disappeared.
Yeah, but, like, trying to hold on to the feeling of, like, how it felt to be dancing in that moment, because, like, I dance because it makes me feel really good, and so if that's the thing that I can remember about it, rather than, like, the bitterness of, like, of people whose opinion I value not thinking that my thing was best, then I am, like, generally happier about outcomes.
This is the thing. Sorry, this is the thing about Lindy Hop that like makes me love it and makes me hate it a little bit. I mean, not it's of course a love hate, but more love. But the thing about it is that it's so multi-dimensional because it so depends on the person and the day and the song and the other partner and, like, what they're feeling that day and what they're feeling that second. Like, and it just changes from second to second. That, like, it can't be like this codified thing. And so, like, it has to be like this, like, okay, guys, we're going to judge you not on your personality, which is hard to say because what you're doing is kind of a big
It's an
part of your
extension of
personality.
you.
But
Yeah.
But, like, it just has to do with, like you said earlier, it's a grouping thing. It's like, well, you guys kind of all have the same ideas and feelings and understanding, and you guys have all the same feelings and understanding. So, like, we want to group you guys together like that.
Yeah, so, like, going into those, like, level auditions, like, going in with the mindset of, I want to get the best learning experience. Like, I want to be, like, a good student, going back to that, and thinking about, like, what does that actually mean? Like, if I'm in a class where things are too hard for me, you're not going to learn. Like, you want to always sort of be in a class where the things you are learning are pushing you, but not pushing you so much that you can't do them at all.
Yeah.
And so if you are, like, always in that state of, like, never succeeding in class or, like, not even knowing that you're not succeeding,
That's
like,
the most dangerous part,
that's-
is the
that's a
feeling
hard
like,
one.
oh, I did the move, but not really getting that the thing that your teachers are trying to get you to is making that move feel really good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a
Specific
dangerous place to be.
emphasis or something like that.
Honestly, I've started to think that the better place to be is at the top of the class so that you glean all of the nuggets that are in the class that you possibly can. And we at 920, because of Sylvia in Montreal, think of, like, and a thing that she told us is that learning is like a spiral, and you come back to the same things over and over, but with more understanding, a deeper understanding of those things.
I mean, completely. Like I always said, it's like you get that old like phrase, if I can go back then, knowing what I know now. It's like in dance, like we kind of get that experience. Like we grow and we get to a point where like we know a lot, and then we go back to the beginning, knowing what we already know, and be able to go, oh yeah, and then it gets
Hear all
smoother
these
and
like
get
layers that come
Yeah.
back out.
Yeah.
And so you may like work on your sugar push like 10 times in your life, but it's always the same sugar push, but you are working on a deeper understanding of that thing.
Yeah.
And so if you are in a lower level class than you want to be, then the best thing you can do is say like, I'm going to get everything out of this class that I possibly can, because the next level up is getting the same skills that they are. They're just getting another cycle of it. So if I can get like the deepest level of meaning out of this class that I can, then I'm doing myself the best service to be in that group next time.
Right.
I think that also means like having a deeper understanding of what, like how the class is being presented. You know what I mean? Like you can't go into a class and just see the moves and be like, okay, I've learned everything that has just been taught here. Right? Like there's so many things that can be touched on, whether it be like how the teachers are teaching the move, or like how we are supposed to do the move, or like themes that aren't even being touched on, but you are like starting to feel and see throughout the course of the class.
And thinking about how that class affects all the other things that you're working on in your dancing.
Exactly.
And a lot of this goes into the sense of like the self-assessment, and I think we can move into the confidence part of it. And I think the confidence part of it comes a lot, like you were just mentioning, Nicole, about like being nervous before dance contests.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's.
I still
Final
get the fight or
frontier.
flight
Well, me
syndrome,
too.
where like I need to just like extrude all things from my body that I possibly can, so that I can run away faster.
I mean, you poop a lot.
And make
Yeah.
only
Well,
like
no,
2
she
minutes
doesn't.
beforehand. I don't, because it always happens like 2 minutes before the contest,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
an obsessively punctual person too. So I'm like, even if it was like a half an hour before, I'd be like, no, I have to be ready. So I probably
Whereas
still
I'm
wouldn't
like,
go.
no, trust me, they're gonna be like 10 minutes late. I'm gonna use it.
Yeah. I'm gonna take another poop real quick. I'm gonna make sure everything's real clean out there. Because I was like, what was I saying this with you last night?
Yeah, we were talking about this last night because I had a I was
Yeah.
sitting with Nina and
yeah.
Elise May yesterday,
Yeah.
and we were talking about how like every time I go out to compete, I'm afraid I'm gonna like poop my pants.
Yeah. And then a little poop
And
is
then-
going to come out the bottom of your pants, and it's going to stay right there in the middle of the dance floor.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
for everyone to
Which-
see.
Yeah.
For the record, has
Everyone will
never
know.
happened. It hasn't happened. They will know because they'll see it drop out of my pant leg.
Obviously.
Obviously.
And then they'll see the pain in your face go. I mean, podcast face. I was making
The
it up.
podcast
was
face,
podcast
right?
face.
Sorry, guys.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, like it's something really real like that. So like the fight or flight, like I didn't know it was that. Like I definitely have to like poop, but I was like just because I'm nervous. I'm like my stomach is turning right now. Like extrude everything out and run. But
Yep.
I'm always nervous before contests. Well, I was like the three of you last night were in the contest last night. How were you beforehand? Were you confident? Were you pooping? Were you like Were you drunk?
I'm never confident beforehand, but
Yeah.
I always underestimate my skill and ability to like hang with people who are actually my peers, but who I like never perceive to be.
Yeah. Well, in the last
Yeah.
episode, we already heard from these two. So how did you feel like you really did in the contest? Like, how did you feel dancing? You danced with John Tiger, right?
I did. That was the most fun I've ever had in a contest.
Yeah.
Normally, until like maybe a couple of years ago, I was too busy freaking out during all the contests to like actually enjoy any of them. And then mostly the only contests I get into are like Jack and Jill's, where you might end up with a partner you really like dancing with, or
Right.
you might end up with someone you've never danced with before.
Or
They
someone you
connect
actually
and, like,
really don't like.
or someone that you really don't like, which totally happens,
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
just like, well, gonna make the best of this thing, but
I don't have
whatever.
to. I just feel like tripping them.
That's just mean.
I've considered just like sandbag. It
I
was
just
just
said-
like holding
yeah.
someone down.
Yeah,
But
I said I feel like. I didn't say actually do it. Come on.
yeah. But last night the Strictly battle, I really had a really wonderful time. John
Yeah.
is also like he teaches all over the place and everything. So at this point, he has a lot more experience in being in that situation than I do. And so I was like, he's probably going to take care of me, so it'll be fine. I don't have to like freak out and worry that he needs me to carry him.
Right.
Yeah.
And like the music was really great. I really love the feeling between the competitors
Yeah.
where everyone was like rooting each other on. Everyone wanted to win, but
Yeah, of
everyone
course.
was like, I can't wait to see what you throw down.
So with you, and the same thing when we kind of talked about with Rachel the last episode about that contest. Did you feel anything kind of like going up there against Remy and Elise?
I was horrified.
Because
As-
you thought they were gonna bowl you over and like throw aerials in your face.
I mean, like mostly Elise, like she'll cut you if everything goes sideways. Like,
So it's cut you
but,
smile.
but Remy, you know, he's really nice.
He's a nice guy. He's a
His
nice
name is
guy.
Remy, and he's a nice guy. That's a fucking lie.
I ran into Remy as we were walking towards prelims, and I saw that he has his number, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? You're in this?" And
Yeah.
he was saying that, like, yeah, he wants there to be more open competitions where like everyone enters
was-
as like peers.
That was the point. That was the point. Like they were gonna do it. Sky and Naomi were gonna do it. I think Peter and Laura was originally supposed to do it. Peter and Laura was originally supposed to do it. And then like I was gonna do it. And like we were like yeah. And we all get here and we're like, maybe not. And Peter and like not Peter, sorry. Remy is like, what the fuck, you guys? Like I'm doing this. Like what the hell? Like come on. Like I don't want to be the only one out there.
It takes guts to like put it out there on the line when you don't have to prove
Yeah,
anything, but
yeah.
you could disappoint.
Yeah.
And so that's like a brave thing to do. On my side, though, it's cool to have those things, but I also feel like the reason that we have differentiated levels is so that everyone can have a chance to shine.
Sure.
And if someone is just like so sparkly that you can't look at anyone else, then I'm like, well,
I thought it was
Yeah.
pretty level actually. Watching from my perspective last night, like it was really level. Like everyone was out there kicking ass. Like really proving it on the floor. Like I didn't see one person going or one
Couple,
couple. Yeah, I didn't see
stood
one
out
couple
not
that was.
being
I was
there.
like, ooh, what the hell are they doing? You know, like sometimes
Especially
you might
that
get
one
those-
point where that one couple brought out that long line of asses and just kicked every single one of them. You know, just kicked them over. ass
Leave
kicking?
the jokes to me.
Leave
Yeah.
the jokes to me.
Someone's got to
I'm
line
Mikey,
them up.
the funny one.
it's also Elise is like one of my dance idols.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
a lot of times it's really hard to see those people as beautiful dancers, but no one is perfect.
Yeah.
And like to recognize that they don't inherently belong there more than you do when you've spent a lot of time building up their skills in your head.
So you were very aware that they were there.
That I was in there with them.
Oh yeah. Yes.
We
Oh
could
yeah.
say that because you're like in the line. I was thinking this whole thing while watching
Yeah,
Elise dance.
they like read off the like pairings because it
Yeah.
was like a battle.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Oh, only 3 rounds. Sweet. We never have to be up there. with
I
them.
thought the same thing. I saw that and I was like, oh, thank God we don't have to go out there with Remy and Elise.
And we were up there with them for the first
First
battle,
battle.
and I was like, oh, okay, here we go.
But I mean, like, there is that element of like being like, oh shit, like, there is like they are exceptional dancers, and they work together all the time, and people know them, and there's a whole bunch of compounding factors
Right,
that sort
right,
of
right.
add up to that. Judges drawing their eye to them instead of like the people they're battling against, but.
Yeah, there's like a whole history of like past performances and expectations that you
absolutely.
can't remove from your brain.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about our dance that I kind of love and I kind of hate as well as like being a tabulator and being judged as well. Like we try our best not to go into it with any bias, but we have
Oh,
to
we're
just
so
admit
biased, yeah.
we have a bias. But also that's what makes this dance so special is that every time it's not going to be the same. It's compared about the judges, you know, like if you mix up those judges, I never want to see a score sheet or a tabulation sheet that is the same. I want to see all my judges be all over the place.
Yeah.
The reason why is because then it still tells me that Lindy Hop is still an individual, like personal feeling.
Yeah, and this one was interesting because they had for the prelims, like I think I mentioned this.
Yeah.
The other
fine,
episode
go for it.
was there were like 9 songs that you got to dance to, and 15 judges
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
For prelims.
for prelims. Like,
Yeah.
and that makes
That's
me feel
unheard
pretty
of.
good. Like then just like making finals with 15 judges
with their
is-
spread of values.
with
Yeah,
their spread
exactly,
of values is like
exactly.
okay, that itself is super awesome.
Mhm.
And then also seeing the people who are up there, and I was like, yeah, like Blake and I forget his partner's name, Hannah, like they were super fun to watch. Like I really enjoyed their dancing,
Yeah.
and I've seen him like I saw him at Inspiration and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and like they totally killed it out there, and they like have a very different aesthetic than
Yeah.
like John and Nicole,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
like Remy and Elise, like
Yeah.
and so we had these very different sort of like presentations.
Yeah, it was really diverse up there, and I was really glad. I mean, like even like Matt and Natalia, Like they have their own thing going on, like for sure. Like, and I know they've been working really hard doing this shit. So like I really like it. It was really funny because like Nicole gave you a look a minute ago and was like, "What do you mean you talked about this before?" Did I tell you?
Oh, yeah,
No.
like,
Have you been
fell
on the show
asleep.
before?
Yeah, I was on the show last night.
Oh, that was what you were doing
we
between
recorded
2
last
and
night.
3:30
Yes.
when I
No,
was
yeah,
in bed.
I danced for a while. I danced till about like 3-ish, and then like or 2:45.
He was like standing there and then he was like, "Well, I'm gonna sit down now." I was like, "Great."
No, he blew creepily into my
Oh,
ear
yeah,
and
that's right.
scared
I
me.
snuck
I
up
like
on her
I like
and-
did a
That sounds more like Carl.
Yeah, that was totally me. And Mikey was like a really good partner because he was like, he's like, "Come on, do it." Yeah.
I'm unsurprised by that as well.
Yeah.
He's an
and
enabler.
they're pretty jumpy.
Never. Never. So, so the whole contest last night was good. Like you guys went through the gambit of everything, and now plus the added thing of like being like, "Oh my gosh, I'm competing against this guy." Well, what kind of stuff? Well, this couple I met. Sorry.
This guy.
This guy.
This
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice.
He's a horrible person. So what tips would you guys give out there for people that like are dealing with that? Like, because that's a confidence issue. Like, absolutely. Like, I'm very willing to say, like, every time I do a contest, I am very nervous. So what kind of tips would you give people to like kind of like subside or like kind of relax, or what would you give them?
I've been in a sort of constant cyclical battle with myself about whether to compete at all. And so periodically I'll say like, I get really nervous and I don't enjoy it very much. Why do I do this? I should just stop. So then I stop for a while and then I see what is like in contests and I say, oh, but they're not doing blah, blah, blah that I strongly value. And I'm like, well, if you strongly value those things, then you should probably just put your butt in there and
Right.
represent those values.
Prove it, yeah.
And so the suggestion that I would make is think about what you really value and think is important and what you think is maybe not as prevalent in the scene that you really, really care about. And just go out there and try to represent that thing. Because then it's not so much about you and like these people are judging you. It's more about I'm putting something out there that I want other people to see. And then it takes some of the pressure off of you.
That's interesting. That's an interesting way to put it because it's like it's putting the pressure off of you because you're like going, here, look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tell me what you think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can distance yourself, your self-worth from your presentation of some combination of things that you think are important. This is also a thing I've had to come to in my normal life where I'm a software engineer like everyone else in Lindy Hop.
Hi.
We're like, except Carl.
And me.
And me.
Except for the three of
But
you.
you guys are like computer peoples.
We're confused. Yes.
Hello.
How
See, I knew it. The mask came off.
And I have to do this
Too
in my
much Dr.
personal
Who.
life too, where like the code that I write is not a representation of my value and self-worth. The code is a product of my brain, but it is if people have criticism about it, then that says nothing about who I am and my like self-worth as a human.
Yeah.
Or as a writer of code.
Yeah. And I think Nicole sort of segued into the thought that I was having, which was like
On a segue.
on a segue, you just drive right over a cliff.
Bunch of
um,
nerds.
as a designer, I think the same thing sort of beat into you early on is that like you show your work rough and early and like as often as possible, and you like the thing that helps you move forward is like critique and feedback and sort of distancing your identity from your work. And so I think the same thing applies to dance. So the things that you put out aren't reflections, aren't you. They are like things that you've created. So like you care about them, but you should also develop a sense of like a critical eye of your own work. So being able to like see your own work, and this is why like we started having students film themselves. Like we're doing this like sort of like experimental class at Chimtown.
Yeah.
And we're encouraging them at various points to actually like take out their phones with their sort of like consent, being
class.
like, hey, yes, film me doing this thing or making this idea or like workshopping through a class. And like we want them to get in this habit of seeing their movement and being able to like critique their own movement so that when they get critiques from other people, they can see what that was.
Right. And have a handle on themselves and be like, oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that is what I saw, or I didn't see that before. Like I'm gonna,
Yeah.
get used to the idea of that for sure. Like it's just a funny thing. Like when you say you kind of remove yourself from what you create, is that in the sense of like, you feel like that happens all the time, or do you feel like you just have to do it for the creative process to work, and at the end, the end result is like that's really what is you like personally?
So, I think it's like a hard distinction to draw. I think like actually when you're creating, it is very much you.
Okay.
Like, because you are like putting all these things into it that are like
Yeah.
your skills, your values, like your politic, like
Right.
all of those things.
Right.
And then, but like once it's out there, it's no longer you.
Yes,
You gotta,
absolutely. Yes.
like, sever
Okay,
the
good. That's what I
cord,
was hoping you
let
were
it
getting at,
stand.
because- yeah, absolutely. Like that is something that I truly believe in. Like where I'm like, look, I'm gonna do it as much as I can. Like especially in like not in the sense of like a contest or rather yeah, in the sense of a contest, but more of a creating a routine, creating something that's like that's
Oh, definitely, yeah.
that
Routines.
makes sense for you, right? And so like when I create something, like I don't want to show it to people, but like I do, like I've started to, especially in the last couple years, where I'm like, no, I need to get some real good feedback, and then at the end, like afterwards, like when it's there, in that sense, it's like I'm giving it to the world. It's like, here it is, here's what I think of it, but now you all are gonna have your own point of view of what it is and ideas of what you get out of it. It may not be mine, but I have to be okay with that, and that's something that's really interesting to me, and like and always been really good, and that's how I keep my sanity, where I'm like, this is what it means to me, but since I give it out there, it can mean anything you want now.
Yeah, writers do that too, where like once they publish a book, people will always ask, but does this thing mean this?
Yeah.
And some writers are like, I can only tell you what I was thinking at the time of writing the book, but that does not mean that the thing that I have to say about it is the be-all, end-all of meaning of this thing. It
Right.
is what you get out of it.
Yeah,
Right.
there's like, as a participant, as an audience, as a reader, like you are just as involved in the understanding and the meaning of a thing as the person who made it.
Yeah, for me, I kind of see it as like I'm so confident about what I did. I'm like, I don't care what you think, because like I care about what I think, and that's my own personal thing. Like you're allowed to, and I'm just like, oh great, you know, like good for you type thing. I don't mean to be like in a jerk or anything. It's just
Selfish.
like, yeah, no, it's self-preservation. I think it's like this is what it means like to me, and this is what I'm gonna fucking hold on to, and this is mine. So you're allowed to have whatever you like, you know.
Yeah, Carl and I put out a routine at ILHC a couple of years ago that like no one seemed to give a shit about,
Yeah.
and
Just Carl's giggling over here. It makes me laugh. I'm sorry.
and it came at a time when like there was something else that was like gnashing in the in the community that people hadn't really articulated yet, and then they saw it in a routine, and everyone was wild about that routine, and that's great. But that meant that like no one really cared about the thing that Carl and I put out there. But I still love that routine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get that you are all very interested in this other thing that's going on, but like this stuff that we got going on here, it was nasty. I'm still a fan of that thing.
Is that banana skirt year?
Oh, that was
Oh,
definitely
no,
not
much
banana
better.
skirt.
I know. I'm just kidding. That's the
God.
first thing that came to my head.
Oh,
But I mean,
Putting
I
something
felt
out there.
I mean, I felt the same. I felt the same way after me and Joe's routine. Like
Yeah.
I was like, I knew it was either gonna be. I was more expecting a lot of hate, a lot of people like just like fucking just trashing it and shitting on it. But I was really surprised and pleased with people's response to it. Like there's so many different like ranges of emotions brought out by it. Even somebody told me one time that it's like they felt it was this kind of like childlike innocence throughout the whole thing, where you guys were just playing, and it just happened to be playing to like something that was soft and meaningful, like, and as opposed to like you guys didn't know what it meant, like, and it was making it up and having this childish feeling. It was Steve, actually, Steve Juan.
Oh,
Our number one listener.
number one listener.
so he told-
Number two behind Lori.
He's probably gonna like text me in a little bit after he hears this. He's gonna be like, "No, actually, I said this." But
a person after my
correction.
own heart.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to
It's
like
not
amend
precise
in the next
enough. Yeah.
episode.
What's that?
You're gonna have to like amend and
Yeah.
incorrection.
Incorrection. We're sending out a
Thanks,
correction.
NPR.
Yeah, very
exactly.
NPR-ish.
Yeah, but it's just funny, like from people from like that, and people like, well, we did it once in Harangue, and it was unfinished, and I was so fucking nervous. But people were like, "Oh my god, like you're crying at me, like this was amazing, like all this." I was like, I'm so not in the mindset because I was so in my own world. I was like, go away from me. It wasn't ready. I hate it. Like, you know, like,
But I mean,
you know,
actually,
and
that's like, I
and
think
I
a good
appreciate
sign.
it now, but at the moment in the creative process, it's like,
Yeah, I mean, like, it sounds like in that point, like, it was still really rough for you,
Yeah.
and like, it was a draft, and
Yeah.
like, as an artist, you're always like, hopefully, as an artist, you are like probably the most critical person of your own work,
yeah,
and so when you're in those rough stages, like it's terrifying to share early work.
Yeah.
And
it
like you
really
were saying
was.
earlier, like getting people in to see early things and early ideas is hard because it's very vulnerable.
Right, right.
And then, but like any piece of art, that is part of like the editing process.
Right.
You want to go in and like sketch something out, draft something up, and then refine it. And that means cutting things away. That means adding stuff. That
Mhm.
means like being like, hey, this piece really cool, but it should be over here.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's how it works.
Yeah. And that really grows like a confidence level for a lot of people. I feel like, at least for me, like I feel like you said this the other day, like where people still think of me as like a party animal, like as
Yeah.
me one way, and that exudes confidence. And I'm like, actually, that was just a mask I used to wear, like a mask that was like, Mikey is a party animal. Don't look at the weirdo behind that's crying to himself because he can't feel like he can do any kind of rock steps or swing outs. Okay, bye.
That's, that's so funny that you say that because one of my improv teachers was talking about how he had done some research on personalities and that people who are like very extroverted and need lots of attention do it because
Rachel pointed at
I was
herself.
just pointing at myself. Do it because on the inside they're very insecure and they don't have a lot of confidence and they're afraid that people are just going to forget about them. Whereas people who are like very introverted and very quiet and don't express a lot of stuff are actually like they're actually
looking
a
at
lot
Carl right
more what's the word I'm looking for? Like they're a lot more self-centered. They think they're like better than everybody else and that's why they're so quiet.
I'm not looking at Carl now. he just generates his like own self-worth from within, which is a thing I've never been able to
It's
do or
happening
understand.
as we speak right now.
He's generating.
He's just sitting here quietly.
Sitting there on
We're
a
all
pile.
talking.
wiggling
He's just
slightly.
brooding.
You gotta work it up.
But I think if there's anything else you want to bring up, Rach?
No, dog.
No? Do you want to move on to the question?
Yeah, let's move on to the question.
You read questions really well.
Okay. I read questions so well
Because she can read.
because I
can't.
can read.
You can read.
I can
I-
read, but I can read when the fucking letters stay still. They move all the time, right? Am I right? You guys know? Am I the only one? Okay.
I read off a teleprompter.
Oh, that's right.
Well, anywho.
But I can't, like, I seriously, like, there's something, I think I have like a little bit of dyslexia. Like, yeah,
Dyslexic,
I start reading something, and then I'm like, wait, wasn't that word over here? Like, wait, what the hell? Where am I? Like, I just bounce back and forth.
It's
It
just
takes
the
a lot for me to
mushrooms.
read.
It's just the mushrooms,
takes a
you
lot for me to
guys.
read.
All that partying.
All that party.
Guys, everything's wrong in my body now.
Everything's
one's mine.
wrong. Okay, so
And I'm asleep.
today's question comes from James Guidera. I hope I said your last name right, and
Sure.
I'm sorry if I didn't. He says, what's the best way to address bad floor craft without discouraging the individual? So I'm assuming he's talking about like telling his partner that they have bad floor craft.
Or it might just
Or
be
just in
like
floor craft in general.
Yeah,
like
like-
people around you.
Yeah.
I like take them out really quick, assassin style, so they never see who did it. It's like
Yeah, I just
done.
like
It's like
with your
knife to the neck and
samurai.
gone.
Yeah.
Knife to the neck and gone. Nicole?
What do you guys think?
Nicole, like you went into deep thought just then. Go for it.
Yeah. So this sort of ends up butting up against a lot of like safe spaces efforts.
Yeah.
Where you want everyone to feel like they are safe physically, emotionally, etc. And some people are accidental violators of other people's space. So if you are one of those people who does Flying Charleston all the time and like kicks people, then you are impinging upon other people's like personal space
Right.
and like injuring them. And it's really hard to find out that you are a bad actor in other people's lives, and a lot of people get really defensive about it.
Yeah.
And say like, oh, you know, it wasn't my fault, blah, 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 or like this just happens on the dance floor and it,
Right.
like you just have to live with it or whatever. And I would like to give people the opportunity to feel that way about themselves for a little bit and like to externalize it. But I think that having everyone else in the room feel safe is more important to me than like the kicker like still feeling like they can embrace all their mad Charlestonness. And so I would just prioritize things differently and say, yes, I want everyone to feel like they can come out and dance and like feel that wild abandon that is a glorious component of this dance, but not at the risk of other people.
Right.
So if that means that someone like comes out less or whatever because they have not decided that it is their fault and that they're going to do something about it, then I kind of say good riddance.
Right.
You can definitely give people tools to work on it themselves. You can say like, hey, these people teach private lessons. Ask them about how to be more aware of other people in your vicinity. Or you can say, you can also ask your partner to look out for people who are behind you. Say like, I have kind of a blind spot behind me. So if you can prevent us from running into anyone, that would be really great. But people who aren't willing to change, I'm not too bummed about not having them around.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. Absolutely. Carl?
I think this actually sort of ties in a little bit in the same manner to what we were talking about earlier. Like, your behavior, like, address the behavior, not like you're a bad person because you kick people on the dance
Yeah.
floor. It's like, hey, this thing that you do, so this like wild Charleston is getting in other people's spaces, and like they need to have a good time too. And so it's not, you're not saying like, hey, you're a bad dancer or something like that. I think oftentimes we're like, oh, these fucking dancers kicking everyone, like yada yada yada, and then you get like agitated with the person versus, and then it's like, hey, Mikey, stop being a dick on the dance floor.
Can't help it.
I know. Versus like, hey, Mikey, your swing outs are awesome, but you keep stepping on me. Like, could you just like watch out when you like rock step like a madman?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the approach of it, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's part of it. I do think there's like, people have to have a sort of willingness to change, as sort of Nicole was saying.
Yeah.
But also I think like the scene in general really should be more blunt with people. Like,
We don't do any favors to anyone when we're like, well, I kind of feel
He
like
just
maybe
meant
this one time.
Absolutely.
like,
Absolutely.
don't wibble wobble around shit. Like, you have to basically say like, hey, this is acceptable here. This is not acceptable here. Like, the dance floor is not yours. The
Yeah.
dance floor is everyone's. And the people who run the venue are responsible for everyone having a good time.
Yeah.
And so if you're impinging upon that, like, it's totally fine to say like, hey, I need to talk to you for a second. Pull them aside and say like, I need you to stop doing this thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, all these people have a bad time, and we need to fix it somehow.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, if you are a person who has been told, and you're listening, hello, listeners. If
Six.
you've been,
Hello.
oh, all 7, because, you know, like,
Oh, yeah,
one
you
of
count
us
as one.
probably
Right,
is
right.
going to listen. It'll probably be me. No, it won't, because I don't ever listen to anything that I'm in. I'll listen to all your other ones, but not the ones that I'm in. If you've been told, like, oh, you kicked me and it really hurt, try to take that as, like, a thing that I did affected someone else's good
Yeah.
time.
Mhm.
This is an opportunity to work on my dancing, because better dancers are more aware of the like physical stretch of their body and how often they are in other people's spaces.
This goes along exactly with the self-assessment. Like, I feel like you're both going on like, hey, if you don't know you're doing this, when someone brings it up, take that opportunity, like in a classroom where a teacher goes like, hey, you could try to this a little bit like this. And it's like, assess yourself. Like,
Yeah.
do I want to change something? Can I change something? And see and experiment with that.
And I think there's a piece there that like we didn't talk about earlier, but like when someone like says like, hey, there's this thing I want you to work on, or like to a class
Yeah.
or something like that, like even if you think you've got it, sometimes it's good to be just like, hey, let me give that more energy, or like
Yeah.
let me put a little bit more of myself into that, and
Play
that
with
applies
it.
to me, and be
Yeah.
like, hey, maybe this isn't for me. Hopefully, like for you is not kicking people, but I mean, maybe you should just go to like Krav Maga. Like,
Yeah,
there's a lot of people into that.
exactly.
But you could just like say like, hey, I'm gonna try this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna try it in the best way possible. And like in terms of forecraft, like that's like I'm gonna try to be more aware of my surroundings. Like you're
Absolutely.
gonna fail. I fail. I kick people. I get stepped on. Like I bump into people.
He kicked me at Lindy Focus.
I like totally kicked her at Lindy Focus. I like took her out for a night.
Oh no! But see, that's
but we're still married.
But see, that's the thing. So yeah,
Your marriage
not to-
survives
so
another
that's your
day.
foot. No, but the thing is that when people have a bad attitude, being told like, hey, like you're kind of a little bit rowdy, like can you tone it down a little bit? We've had complaints, and the thing is like you have to realize we've all known or been that person that like has been taken out of the night because like giant bruise growing on their foot or ankle or leg or shin, like
Or
and
face.
Kidney.
Nose.
yeah, you never know. Like seriously,
Or the other day,
Elbow
I
to the
watched
nose, man.
Laura get like karate chopped to the neck. She was like crossing the floor.
Oh,
It was
jeez.
the most hilarious thing.
that is a tough thing. That is a tough thing. So like people crossing the floor, I'm like sorry for Laura, but still like.
Well, she was
people
on the
crossing-
side.
Yeah, but that's
She
the
was-
thing. People crossing the floor like on the side or anything. Speak of the fucking devil.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
okay, fine.
Not even joking.
Literally, Laura walked
Bye,
into
guys.
the room.
We were just talking about you.
Hacha!
Like, just now talking about you. Laura's surprised that we're doing a podcast because she's never heard a podcast, right?
I did tell her.
She doesn't know
She said.
technology. Yeah.
Technology.
She said, "Meet you in Discovery B," which is the room that we're
Yeah.
in right now. And I said, "Great, we're already there. We're like going to be wrapping up the show soon
Yeah.
because we're going to work on a new routine for ILHC."
Cool.
But I think it's funny that she did not connect the "we're doing a show. We're
Oh.
already there."
But
Them
what I was
dots.
saying about people like crossing the floor or going on the edges or something, like, oh man, you have to take responsibility. Like, people are moving around so much and their perspectives are changing so much. They cannot care. They can only care about the people around them that are moving with them, not the people that are walking around. Like, you have like people to deal with floorcraft. It doesn't mean that means that when you're actually dancing, floorcraft is also the people moving around the dance
Oh,
floor.
totally, yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? So like, I mean, absolutely. Like, I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't think it's Laura's fault or whatever. I don't think it's anybody's fault.
was
But it's
hilarious.
it's hilarious. But at the same time, it's like when you're moving around the dance floor and you're on a dancer on the dance floor, then you should be mindful a little bit more. You know, like you should stop and give the dancers a little more priority than you right there, and like move away as much as possible. With floorcraft in general too, like take a good look around the dance floor. If you could barely see anybody like clearly for a second, then maybe don't swing out like the hardest that you've ever swung out before, because like there's no room out there.
Totally.
Yep.
This
You know,
is
like,
why
that's-
when
that's my
like the
guess.
floor is packed, I'm just like, I
Yeah.
usually don't have a great time dancing
Yeah,
when like floors
absolutely.
are like slammed, and so I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna hang out over here.
There's
And,
only
like,
so much Tiny Charleston he can bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really get tired of Tiny Charleston.
And I don't want to dance in the center of a giant room. Like, you'll never see me in the center of a room like dancing my ass off, because I'm like I'm 4 sides full of people. I'm dancing on the edges because at least 3 sides I can deal with.
Dancer locked.
Yeah, man.
Dance a lot.
Seriously, like I can't do that. So like, if you have trouble out there, like try dancing on the edges.
Stick-
I
yeah,
mean,
stick
and
to
not
the
everyone's
corner.
gonna do it,
Yeah.
but also other people love dancing in the center of the whole room. Like, they really really dig it. So for me, I'm not one of them, but definitely try that if you're interested.
So how would you then like approach somebody and be like, "Hey, I noticed that you are totally out of control and you need to rein it back on this dance floor."
Before we get into this, let me tell you how I handled it one time. We were dancing at Tijuana's in Orange County, and this piece of shit, and I say shit very strongly because he's a piece of shit, did an aerial with a partner. I don't think it was his dance partner. I'm pretty sure she had just been dancing for like a few months, maybe.
Oh no.
Yeah, and like totally flipped her, and like she
Piece
like
of
landed on her
shit.
feet, luckily, but like kind of like butt towards the ground type thing, you know. And I was dancing. I can't remember who I was dancing with. I want to say it was Nikki, but I don't think it was. And I just turned over and grabbed his collar, brought him like fucking an inch in close to my face, and said, "Don't you ever fucking pull another aerial around me again, or I swear to God, I don't care where I am, I'll kick your ass out of the fucking place."
You actually said that?
Yeah. Yeah,
Good.
and the thing was, he looked at me. He's like, "But," I was like, "No, I don't fucking hear it." And I just turned around and kept dancing with the person, and he stopped dancing with the girl and like left.
As he should.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So the thing is that guy is a piece of shit, and
It
I won't say
sounds like there
I
might
won't-
have been like some history there too, or
The
like
thing
he's
is,
not
the thing
always
is,
had
the,
this
yeah, the
behavior
history,
before.
the history is he keeps doing it over and over
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
No
yeah.
one stops him, and he's hurt people before.
He should get banned.
I know that's
Yeah,
the
you just
thing
kick
is,
him
I
out.
know with everything that's happening right now is like that's one of the next things that I'm planning to do.
Yeah.
Is to make more awareness of that. But the thing is also on top of that, like that's an extreme level. I'm not saying
And
anybody
it sounds like
listening
your
out there.
reaction was like commensurate with the offense.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like it was still also like everything, all the history coming forward. And ever since then, he hasn't talked to me, and that was like 10 years ago. And like I only had to deal with him because like he was at a cowbell thing, and it was stupid. Anyways, but the thing about it is that was an extreme. Like there is better ways to handle that. There's definitely like I shouldn't have gone for him. I should have taken care of the person that almost died, you know, like on the dance floor, on a crowded dance floor too. Like it was insane. So like I say try to take care of those people, and then like try to talk to the people that like were around, the partner involved, you know. So yeah. Anyways, that's my story.
Yeah, the safety of the people who could be negatively affected by the situation is like priority 1. Yeah.
There you go.
And And then I think that your reaction to the offender depends on the crime.
Yeah.
And so if they've like kicked you on the dance floor, which happens to everybody, if you're like still able to dance or whatever, maybe at the end of the song you say like, hey, I know the dance floor is crowded and everyone's dancing. You kicked me pretty hard. And so please be aware of your surroundings more in the future. Or I'd like to ask that you
would you
take
say
more
that to somebody like say you were dancing tonight and some random person just like kicked you on accident? Would you go up to them afterwards and say that? Like,
if they did not ask me if I was okay and say that
Okay.
they were sorry, yes. If they make the first effort to say, oh gosh, I'm so sorry, are you okay? Then they understand that they've affected my life and have said that they are sorry about it. So then I don't have to say anything. But also if this is like a serial offender, then I would say like this appears to be a pattern. Please do what you can to make sure that this doesn't continue. And if you need resources for how to do a better job at this, I can recommend a ton of people who can help you.
Yeah.
cool.
There's another story.
Of course.
It's one of the benefits of being in the scene as long as
But
you have.
yeah, but I'm on the other end this time. I'm the offender, and it was at a dance.
I've always thought you were
and-
offensive.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even spell it. So
Mikey
the thing
the
is-
offender.
the thing was, is like we were dancing, and it was a jamming song. It was the last song of the night too, and I kicked someone like 3 or 4 times, and it was a follow, and it was a married couple, and so the husband really let me have it. And it's a guy that I know, and I won't say the name because just whatever, but he's like a very calm individual, and he let me have it. He let me have it real bad, and I was like, so sorry, I feel so bad.
Did you know that you had
Yes, I
kicked
did.
them?
I completely know, and I was like, I'm sorry, and after the 3rd time, I got her real good. And she was like out the rest of the night. So it was totally
It was the
like the
last
same.
song, you know, but-
Yeah. Well, I think it was last song. Last song of the set.
I'm just
Last song of
kidding.
the set too. Because there was more of the night. Because I remember feeling
Right.
awkward around them. I was like, sorry. Like,
It was probably a late night, and then,
oh
I don't
man,
know.
dude, I can't even fucking remember anymore. But the thing is like it's just that shit like that is painful. Like you're literally physically hitting somebody. You're physically hurting someone.
And we
And
wear
in what-
shoes that are not like if you're wearing like dress shoes,
Those things are
it's
sharp
not
and
like
hard.
a nice tap.
Yeah,
Like,
No.
If
exactly.
I'm wearing like sneakers, it's usually like, oh, I kicked you. Like
It's a dull
like,
pain.
It's a dull pain. It's rubber.
Yeah.
But like when I like heel like what I did to like Nicole
Mhm.
at like Lindy Focus, like nice leather shoes, heel to the ankle, like that was
Ow.
it. That was it.
Yeah,
Like
seriously.
I stopped dancing. I was like with my partner. We were like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And like you go take care of the person. Like. and-
Although I would like to say you ask them if they want your help
Right,
before you go take care of
Yeah,
them.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Or you
absolutely.
you check in with them first. Like,
Sure. Well, if they fall, you help them.
Yeah.
That's when you go.
You know,
Would
kick
you
them while they're
like?
down.
But yeah, I think that brings us to the end. Yeah, unless you guys got anything to say.
I
Else
love
to say?
ending on kicking people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
look.
Give her a
look,
ha and a
fucking-
hi-ya.
Fucking, I think we can all agree. It's like, hey guys, like, be better about it. Like, know there's a lot of people around you, and if there's a ton of people around you, just be a little
And
more
know it
chill.
happens.
Just for
It
a little
happens.
bit. Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's
that's the
gonna
other
totally
thing. Yes,
happen. It's
absolutely.
It's totally gonna happen. You're gonna
Yeah.
run into people. You're gonna kick people. But like, model good behavior. Be
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
hey, I bumped into you. I'm sorry. Like, model it in your classes. Model
Absolutely.
it in your local scenes. Like,
Yeah, no one's perfect, but practice does get you closer.
yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
So what we do, of course, you guys know, we do the last little bit.
Carl
What's your-
might not know. He might
what's
have
your bright
never made
side?
it to the end.
Oh yeah, you never made it to the end of the
You
episode.
never made it to the end.
I never make it to the end.
So we always talk about our bright side, so it can be
Which is any
like,
positive thing about this conversation or this weekend or anything in your life. So
Yeah,
why don't we
so-
start with Carl?
since you've never done it before.
Since I've never done it before. Let's see. Positive thing. Weekend, my life. I don't know. Like I could talk about the puppy we adopted because that's all I've
Exactly,
been
yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
over the last week. So we
We're
adopted this,
totally
like,
turning into those pet parents.
totally adorable
Hell yeah.
corgi McNabb mix. She's like 8 months old. Her name is Chloe.
Adorable.
And
that would be anybody's bright side. Are you kidding
oh
me? Of
god,
course.
Yeah.
she's just like face melting in her cuteness.
That's awesome.
And yeah, like it's just like I grew up with dogs, I grew up with
Mm-hmm.
cats, and then like as an adult, I've like not had my own pet. Like I've like been with partners who've
Sure.
had cats and stuff like that, but it's not the same.
Mhm.
And like going out and like adopting like this adorable little ball of fluff that's like a little terrified of people, but at the same time like really loving.
Mhm.
It sort of fits us pretty well.
Yeah.
Because we don't like people either.
It's true.
It's true.
We stay in our loft all
They were
day
like,
long.
oh, she's a little shy around strangers, and we're like, perfect, we are too. And like I get up and like take her for a walk in the morning and like run around with her and I like work next door, so I can like come home now.
Mhm.
Like I come home for lunch and just like sit down on the couch with her, and I'm just like, oh, this is so much better than my coworkers.
That's
It's not actually like
adorable.
I like my coworkers, but like it is really nice to just like step away.
But they don't sit on your lap.
and have like no
Usually.
no HR violation.
little therapy cuddle sesh.
Yeah, and so like work can be stressful and a lot of like sort of output, and so like going home and sitting down or like coming home after work or anything like that, and there's this little ball of like fur that just wants to love you and like run around and play
Mhm.
is awesome.
Yeah, that's
So,
really cool.
that's
That's a
my
good
bright
bright
side
side.
right
Nicole?
Being in that competition last night, full of people whose dancing I really value and humans that I really like, and having them cheer me on and like to cheer them on, the like mutual admiration society was really rewarding for me, because I get really lonely sometimes, and to just have that like 10 minutes of really feeling like you were all in a thing together was really, really special to me.
That's a good
Oh,
one.
that's really nice.
Rachel?
Dahlenburg.
Yeah. Dahlenburg. I think my bright side is having you guys on the show today, because you are both such smart people, and you had so many good things to say that I didn't even feel like I had to say anything the
I was
entire
very
time.
aware that you weren't talking most of the time.
Yeah,
and
I was just like, no, I was just like, this is awesome. I for once in my life don't have anything to say.
Well, no, she would. The
except
thing
for
is,
my bad joke.
The thing is,
one
that one
joke,
really fell flat.
the one joke that I made just totally bombed.
It's
That is
okay.
so
It's okay.
unlike me.
I think you're so funny. I like you make me laugh.
No, I'm sorry to everyone out there.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Your joke is
There's
not
7
you.
people,
It
it's
does not
okay.
represent your self-worth.
Self-assessment.
I will say that this weekend I've had some people come up to me and be like, "Oh my God, I love your podcast," blah blah blah, and they start talking to me not only like we're friends, but they're expecting me to like put on a show for them, be like super funny in the
Welcome to
moment.
Welcome to
showbiz.
my life.
And I'm always like, oh, I'm totally like not like, they catch me in like a bad time where I'm like grouchy or I'm tired or I'm like feeling stressed about being in the competition, and so I'm always like, hey, nice to meet you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Just pooped my pants. See you later.
I left a little on the floor. Hope you like
Get on the
it.
floor. Can you clean it up for me?
But the thing is we've only had like I feel like that I can recall like 2 other episodes where we've had such a subject that like Rachel's like just feels like I need to listen to this, but like those other 2 episodes also as well, like she'll be quiet for most of it, but like then like totally have the greatest question, like
Hmm.
we did like you did it like twice in the Balboa one. For
Was
sure.
it asking about rock steps?
Sure, why not?
That question.
Are
We
there rock
had a
steps in
Balboa,
Balboa?
we had a Balboa episode, and we didn't get into that part, but we did get into some other stuff. It was really good. My bright side is I guess
Nobody asked you.
Okay.
Hey, Mikey.
Hey, Mikey.
Hey, Mikey.
What's
What's your bright side?
Hey guys, thanks for asking.
Let's keep talking.
Hate you all.
Anyway, you guys.
My bright side is I get to teach another class with Gene Veloz in about a half an hour.
Oh, that's
pretty
Aw.
sweet.
That
And
was such a sweet dance too.
Oh, thank you. Fucking
Also,
nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I'm
epaulets
sure.
of, like spark, like
Yes.
Stone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, she is gorgeous. Like the thing
Baller.
is like you guys like, you don't see it until you're like up close next to her. When she's like just kind of like she's there and she's like looking at people and like okay, and then she starts dancing. She's like her eyes widen and like you could see it all start to coming back to her. Like it's amazing. It's really life affirming because we do this now, and imagine when we were doing it for 70 years. You know, like
My knees are gonna hate me so
yeah,
much.
I know, right? My knees already hate
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
But the thing is like, imagine that, like, when we're like, can barely feel like our knees are like 3 times replaced because of awesome technology, and then we go out there and we're off in some distant world and land, and they're like, hey, we used to see you on video tapes. Oh, okay. You want to dance? Okay. You want to teach a lesson? Sure. Boom. You're like back into it. You're like in your prime again. Oh man, it's so inspiring, and it's so empowering for like not just lead and follows, but men and women, like to see a 93-year-old woman come to Houston and like do the things she loves and just be like, it's a feeling, it's the music telling you what to do. Don't try to be like me, but just try to get that feeling, get yourself in that feeling, find yourself in that moment. And I'm like, oh, thank you for saying that, you know. So.
It's a nice bright
Yeah,
side.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's like
Aw, that was
so,
really cute.
guys, you can watch us on. I always say watch. You can.
You can only
hear us.
watch us.
You
watch
can
us
watch
on
the
the-
bar increment
Yeah, you
very
can watch the-
slowly.
Yeah.
You can also
Move
watch
across-
Mikey on the private webcam I've set up in his house. No.
Hello.
That is like my biggest
In
fear.
Germany?
That is my biggest fear. No, I have you guys like it's my biggest fear. So every time I look at my camera on my phone or on my
You have
on my
tape over it?
laptop, no, I don't. I always like I should really tape that. I'm like half naked. I'm like I should really tape that. I'm like bending over. I was like I should really tape that. But
Notice
that
he's
is-
always actually like looking at the camera while he's like bending
Yeah.
over or half naked. So he,
And saying it to the camera.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you're gonna give a show,
better be a good
Better
here you go,
be a good
Snowden.
one.
So, catch us on SoundCloud, where you can watch the bar. Catch us on iTunes, where you can watch the bar.
different bar, it's
And,
less
different
cool.
bar. And our
Another
faces are
bar.
weird things.
Please
And
send us more questions. We're running out of them.
We're running out of good ones. Let's be honest. We have a lot of them, but I don't like them.
We're also we're running out of them in general.
Okay.
We only have a few
We have,
left.
we have to ask them for it. And then rate and review us on iTunes. And we always love that stuff. Give us 5 stars, even though you hate our voices or you listen to it in 2 times speed. So
no, it's better. You like I rate it higher the faster I can listen to it.
that is true. That is true. So we do this little thing. You guys can join us every time we end. We always go, bye.
And of course, Nicole doesn't do it. She just stares at us.
She-
Bye, thanks.